Welcome again to Intimate Conversations with Men, and today we have a genius. Let me tell you a little bit about this genius. His name is Alexander Ford. He has earned millions, left millions, and spent years building businesses that look successful from the outside while quietly draining him on the inside. What he discovered on the other side of the collapse wasn't a better strategy. It was more honest question. Who am I actually building this for? Oh, don't you love the questions when you're building a business? I can't wait to ask questions. But using behavioral science, Alexander has spent over a decade studying the gap between who men say they want to be and who they're actually living as. In their business, their relationships, and their sense of self. His conclusion: most men aren't falling because they lack of drive or intelligence. They're falling because they're operating from the misalignment, doing what they think they're supposed to do rather than what's true to them. His work helps entrepreneurs and the men behind them distinguish between the pain and the drains misalignments and the pain that grows purpose and build from the latter. Alexander has managed up to 30 full-time employees, built a multi-million-dollar company, and rebuilt from the ground up more than once. Today, he leads Measurable Genius, because he's one of them, coaches businesses owners across North America, and has one consistent message for the men he works with. The business problem is rarely the business problem. Alexander, welcome to Intimate Conversations with Men.
Thank you for having me.
I already know that we're going to have a very inspiring and interesting conversation. So the first question I want to ask is, men rarely will admit when they fail. This is in your bio. What makes you actually feel comfortable saying that I built and then I left millions of dollars?
Well, I think there's a fundamental calibration or belief that I have adopted that feels pretty scary to people because they perceive that managing the perceptions of other people or creating some kind of proof or external result in their life as a mechanism for having people see them the way they want to be seen, or as a mechanism for getting what they want, is a better strategy than being vulnerable or being honest. And I think that could be summed up pretty neatly in the idea that in any given circumstance, there's like a root and then there's fruit. So the question is, which is the root and which is the fruit? Mm-hmm. And most people believe that the transformation they want to create in their life mm-hmm. is the root. Like they show up in the world thinking, I'm going to do a thing called transformation. And then the results in my life will reflect the transformation that I've created. And then therefore I can feel certain or I can believe something about myself that's true. But my perception is that that's flipped inside out, and that transformation is not something you do. Transformation is not the root. We don't transform so that we can create something new. We experience transformation as the fruit of truth. So I'm never going to change a truth that I perceive about myself based on something in the external world. Like the man who believes once I make enough money, then I'll believe that I'm valuable. Once I create a successful business, then I'll have the proof that I need to be valuable. The problem is that we're basically admitting I'm not valuable, so therefore I need to prove it to myself. I'm not worthy, therefore I need to prove it to myself. And so as long as we're sort of dancing around the true belief, the transformation we're trying to create to prove to ourselves that our belief is false will never get us there. And so if instead we calibrate towards, by telling the truth, I therefore gain access to transformation, or said a different way, transformation is the inherent outcome of being honest and discovering, revealing, or acknowledging a truth, then the results speak for themselves. So it just seems like a wiser strategy to me to be honest, which is, there's not a single business owner on the planet that isn't a fucking disaster. Like, there's not a single human being, there's not a single man on this planet who has not meaningfully screwed up their life in some way. There's not a single entrepreneur who has managed to avoid failure. We could rationalize and tell stories. Well, that wasn't a failure. It was just a stepping stone. That was not a bankruptcy. That was evolution. That was not, some sort of cataclysmic implosion of something that was important to me. That because I can't acknowledge it. People won't like me. I don't want to admit it. But it's just a fact of life. I perceive that transformation happens when we're honest. And so therefore I tend to be recognized and appreciated for what people call vulnerability. They'll say, Alexander's a very vulnerable person. Wow, that took a lot of courage. But it's also just a more effective strategy. So I just choose to play the game that way.
Okay, so thank you for that. I'm going to summarize what I perceive that you said. Basically, we tend to measure our results based on somebody else's opinion or what other people think should be our own results. But the difference between that and being true to ourselves is not only we have more information about where we are and what really meaningful to us instead of meaningful to someone else, but we have concrete the information to know what is the next step and what makes us successful, something like that. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. The next question that I have is, you manage 30 people. As a leader, what are the flaws that you discover yourself that could be improved to manage your team with excellence or better manage your team?
Yeah. So probably the most important distinction is the difference between dissatisfaction and blame.
Mm-hmm.
So most human beings have a very defensive reaction to any form of dissatisfaction. Especially when it's experienced from the perspective of a leader. So my team is calibrating against my desire, basically. The people who choose to follow me are not following me because of the potential outcomes I might create in my life. I mean, that can be a part of the story. My team follows me because they believe we're going to achieve something great. We've got the potential to do something cool. The work that we do in this business matters to them to some degree. Those are all important variables. A team wants to show up and feel like they're doing something important with their lives. And by choosing a leader, they're looking to me and my decision-making to guide the way. Mm-hmm. So when I express dissatisfaction, what that means to them, if I don't clarify and hold the right energetic approach, is something isn't happening the way that I want it to happen. Some result isn't occurring the way that I want it to occur. And therefore, someone is to blame. And if you look across more or less the entire species, humans are conditioned to avoid culpability. And there's this strategy that people play out, which is that they think that the way to get what they want is to get another person to agree that they are responsible for somehow hurting them in some way.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of like showing up and asking you like, hey, like, will you do this for me, please?
Mm-hmm.
Which for some reason requires a lot of courage. I'm not sure why it requires so much courage to be forward with your desires. Like, this is a funny thing about human behavior, but like, it's like a very scary, vulnerable thing. Like, oh my God, I want something. Like, I couldn't possibly ask for what I want, right? So we innovate all these strategies. The most prevalent strategy that I've observed that people deploy is they weaponize blame. So if I can somehow convince you that you did something wrong, that you somehow owe me, then the implicit conclusion is, therefore, now you should give it to me. And our society is like rife with this. Like, this is like an endemic condition. So go ahead.
Oh, thank you for saying that. I really love this, but and how that is specifically affect the individual, putting the blame on the other individuals and the real life intimately.
Well, it works. It works. Our society largely turns on the idea that someone was hurt, and so therefore they should now get what they want. And you can see this on social media. Like we play a game in our society, like the biggest victim should get the most.
Yeah, of course.
Like that's how most people work. So therefore, consciously or unconsciously, if somebody comes to me and goes, Alexander, you hurt me, you owe me,
Mm-hmm.
you should do something for me.
Uh-huh.
If I buy that story, I will then give it to them, but it never feels good. Right? It never feels good. We might do it, but we don't like feeling like we owe people things. We don't like feeling like the reason I should do something is because I caused harm.
Yeah.
But this is largely subconscious for most people. So as a leader, desire and dissatisfaction are conjoined ideas. Like we can play the positive negative game, and we could say, well, Alexander, like you should always take something you're dissatisfied about and you should turn it into a positive expression so that people are inspired to do what you want instead of responding to dissatisfaction. But I think that most people have put dissatisfaction and blame so closely together. What they're really saying is, I don't like feeling blamed.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the things that we've worked on very diligently is creating a culture at Measurable Genius where two things are true.
Okay.
One, my dissatisfaction is a calibrating mechanism for what my desires are. When Alexander is dissatisfied that there isn't enough revenue, the implication is we should probably go create more revenue.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, that's necessary for the functionality and the operations of this business. If there's no revenue, then there's no business and there's no jobs. And so now there's a problem. And so my dissatisfaction with there being not enough revenue is actually a good thing. But if it slips into, and you are at fault for there not being revenue, then it becomes like toxic. It becomes, now what you should do is help create revenue because you're creating the problem that there's not enough revenue. And that slight adjustment into the reason you should try to create revenue is because you did something wrong in the past destroys culture. So one, how do we create a narrative that my dissatisfaction is useful and it's safe?
Okay.
And the second is, how do we help the team perceive that dissatisfaction does not equal blame? Dissatisfaction can be a forward-looking energy, but our society generally points it backwards.
Oh, I see.
Towards fault. And people hate it, but they just endure it. And so we work really hard to be like, no, it's like, I'm just dissatisfied. It doesn't mean you did something wrong. It just means now I want something different. And that has really created a culture for us, which is like, no, it's fine. Like everything is fine. And I'm dissatisfied. And so therefore, let's move towards what I desire, which is these things in the future.
Okay, so perceive the goal and create a strategy and the goal instead of focusing on who did something wrong.
Yeah, I mean, fault is a very blunt
Mhm.
instrument
Mhm.
for getting what it is that you want. Yeah, like let's contextualize it another way.
Okay.
In a relationship, like in an intimate relationship, like I have a long-term partner. Okay. Now, I say to Jen, hey Jen, you should do this because you owe me.
Okay.
What I'm really saying is, I want this.
Mm-hmm.
I like the purest form is I want this. And if I choose to get what I want by having her do it under duress because she owes it to me, I might get the thing that I say I want, which is whatever it might be. Hey, Jen, you should make sure there's always dinner on the table because you're a terrible person and you owe me. I might end up with dinner on the table, but it's going to come with the energy of bitterness, begrudgment, basically like she's doing it under duress. And the thing is, I don't just want the result of dinner. I want her to want to make me dinner. Like I want her to want to make love to me. I want her to want to spend time with me. I want her to want to be in a relationship with me. I don't want her to be in a relationship with me because she has to be. I don't want her to be in a relationship with me because she feels like she needs to be. What I really want is for her to want. And we can apply that to my team. I don't want a team who's working for me under duress. I want a team who wants to work for me. I don't want customers who are buying from me because they have to buy from me. I want customers who want to buy from me, right? I don't want my parents to take care of me because they have to take care of me. I want my parents to take care of me because they love me and they want to take care of me. And anytime we deploy, you owe me, we undermine the thing we actually want because now we're not getting their true desire. We're getting a hollow shell of a motor action that produces a result. Okay, well, I got rescued. Oh, okay, well, I guess, I got taken care of. But it comes with this energy that nobody really likes. So it's just another way of saying, like, we don't actually want the result. We want people to want to help us create the result.
So how would you express that to her, and or what would you do instead of saying you owe me? I want you to cook dinner for me. You owe me. What would be the different version of her, I guess, wanting to make dinner?
Well, I mean that's a complicated question because like we have a whole life, right? So, she has a hierarchy of values. She has dreams and desires. She has a life that she wants to live, an identity that she wants to be. And so like, over time and through a series of interactions, I will do my best to help each of the people in my life to create a narrative and a story and a relationship that is predicated on that. In order for you to want to show up and take care of me, or to want to show up and do your job, then there's a series of factors that need to be in place that help that person see clearly for themselves that doing this thing is an expression of my identity. Doing this thing is an expression of what I want in my life. So there's a whole web that is necessary for a romantic partner or an employee or a business partner or a customer.
Any relationship.
To like, yeah, to that adds up to the result that they want to do the thing. So it's not something you solve with a single conversation. It's something that you build over time by creating a map of what's important to this person and what they want to be when they grow up and what winning in life looks like for them. And to the degree that I can sort of weave my desires into their identity and their values and what it is that they want to create in life, then the result becomes, this is the best possible thing that I can think of doing with my time today. Like I want to spend my time this way. I want to contribute to the family this way. I want to contribute to the business this way. And so the answer is like, I do my absolute best to get to know the individual and like understand what motivates them and understand what it is that means that they're winning. And I try to line up opportunity for them such that they get to win inside the bigger game called measurable genius, or the bigger game called the relationship, or whatever the context might be.
Thank you for that. In the process of you building those multi-million-dollar businesses and losing everything basically, and doing it, I'm not sure how many times.
A bunch.
What was the moment for you when you cracked the code and figure out that you were doing the way you were doing things was not working, and figure out what was the right way for you to do things that actually worked? What was in your mind happening? I have two questions. That's one. And the other one that I'm going to ask is, how was that affecting your intimacy with yourself and with your partner?
It's hard to turn it into a single moment. There was a series of moments over the course of the last several years. The most significant moment was at a birthday party that I had in February of 2025. So just over a year ago, as of the date of this recording. I was at that time running a marketing agency, and I was feeling particularly hopeless. Like, over my life, I have endeavored to solve meaningful problems. And when we were running the marketing agency, we were serving the online coaching and entrepreneurial world. And I was confronted repeatedly by clients who, in retrospect, I sort of knew over the course of the entire agency career that I ran that there was something fundamentally wrong, and I didn't really understand what it was. Clients would hire me and they would present as wanting to solve a marketing problem.
Okay.
Like, Alexander, I'm 99% sure that, I'm a special person. I'm very valuable. The market would be lucky to have me. And I don't have the life that I want. I don't make enough money, or I don't have the success, or I haven't created the size of business that I think I should have. And I'm pretty sure that marketing is the problem.
Oh.
That's the frame. Entrepreneurs mostly think they have a marketing problem. And I had a couple quite large clients who were each paying us $20,000 a month. So between the two clients in particular, we were earning $40,000 a month in services revenue. And they both presented the same way. And they were really reflections of how all of our agency clients presented. They were just, larger than many of our other clients. So I was at a mastermind in Cabo, and there was a giant storm, and planes were all delayed, and we ended up having all of our flights be canceled.
Oh my God. Okay.
And so I end up sort of having a bonus day in Cabo, and I'm having one of the two clients is having this existential crisis for like the fifth time. And I remember sort of finally working up the courage to challenge him, because he would say this thing on our meetings, like, you're the marketer. Like, you're the marketer. Like, you figure it out. You figure out how to make me my money. And like, on the surface, especially given like how this community of businesses sort of works and thinks, it's framed like a reasonable desire. Like, I don't do marketing. I do my magic trick. Okay. I do my magic trick over here, and it's someone else's job to do the marketing over here. And I always felt like this was really unreasonable, because the person running the business, their responsibility is to create some form of transformation for their client.
Okay.
And in order to create that transformation for the client, we need to deeply understand this client's current reality. Like, they present with a perceived problem, and it may or may not be true. They have a problem, which it's our job as the service provider to address, whether the customer understands it or not. And this is said in a bunch of different ways, but like, people attribute you with the solution when you understand their problem better than they do.
Mm-hmm.
And this is standard marketing philosophy, but it's also necessary as a coach. And so in the coaching world especially, marketing and coaching are very much the same thing.
Okay.
Because the journey that you're going to take someone on as a coach requires that you meet them in exactly the same place that they would be met with the marketing. It's like the coaching relationship starts in the marketing.
They build and grow together.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so this whole paradigm of like, I'm not the marketer, I'm just a product. Someone should come and take me to the world. Like, don't you know how special I am? Always irritated me. Like, pardon me, you're so special, but you are unwilling to meet your customer in the market. And so there's this strange paradigm that occurs, which is, I'm special and people should hire me, but I don't want to do the work of marketing myself to the world. And so we were around this circle anyway. He books a meeting, and for context, he's a men's coach. Okay. And I get on a call with him, which is ostensibly meant to be the opportunity where I take the position around what I think that he should do.
Okay.
And basically the position that I was taking was, you should, like, his primary complaint was our customers never have enough money. Our number one sales objection is they don't have enough money. I was like, you're speaking to the wrong person. Your offer is designed for broke men, and then you're shocked when they're broke. Like, this is a messaging issue. This is a posture issue. If you want to speak to men who have more money, then we need to speak to the men that have more money. And they're not going to want this offer. They're going to want a different offer. And so I get on a call with them ostensibly to present this new frame. And he brings his wife to the call. And she spends 45 minutes walking us through, I don't know, a Google Doc that looked like it was prepared in 25 minutes. And she takes the position that this client is God's gift. His work is so important. We've just gone through the last 10 years of his career, and here are the principles that he stands for, and this and that. And we get to the end of the 45 minutes, and I go, okay, great, you're special. What problem does this address for the customer you're speaking to? And she goes, I don't know, that's your job. You figure it out. And I imploded. I was like, you are fucked. I cannot help you. And it's not that Alexander can't help you. It's like, you are unhelpable. You are unwilling to change. There's some kind of posture being taken here that's actually designed to protect you from the world in some way. You don't actually want to meet your customer in the market. You don't want to meet them in their mind. You don't want to actually think thoroughly about why they might buy from you. You're completely self-absorbed, and nothing I say is going to make a difference, and every dollar you spend on this is futile, and I am done. And then where that led me was into an existential crisis, because I was like, this person is the epitome of this industry, which means the way that my business is built, the way that I've set this whole game up, the product that I'm selling these people is inherently flawed. It's never going to work, because even if we have a face-to-face conversation and you go, I understand the risks. I understand that Facebook ads are hard. I understand that marketing campaigns might fail. I understand that there's some amount of investment necessary on an ongoing basis to continually figure out how to market to an evolving industry, to an evolving customer. And they're just not, and they'll go, yeah, Alexander, I understand. And the minute a Facebook ad shows any signs of failure, they panic, they bail, they rug pull, they refuse to continue, they won't run experiments, they don't want to spend the money, they need the solution in the next 10 minutes or else they're going to go bankrupt. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. I cannot do this anymore. And what showed up for me was that I was building a life that, I was having a conversation with these people where I'm like, I can't save you. And they would go, I know. And then they would desperately hope to be saved by me because I showed up, I presented as if I could save them. Like, just outsource your marketing to me, we'll take care of it. And so that was sort of like the beginning of the end. I basically had a very honest conversation with Jen, and I was like, we have 90 days of runway. I'm firing this client. There's a good chance we're going to just run out of money and we're going to have to move back in with our parents because I am unwilling to suffer this anymore. And that led me to like a several month sort of journey where I realized that I was setting myself up to try to win games I could never win. And I was holding on to an identity that I needed to prove something in order to try to like change a fundamental truth about myself. And that I was avoiding a truth, which is that I didn't believe in the product I was selling. And I was trying to use my clients. I was honestly looking, I was hoping that I was wrong. I was like, I know inherently this is broken, but I'm hoping that I'm wrong about it. And I was looking for proof that I was wrong, which is the fundamental frame that I had lived my whole life in. I know intuitively what's right, but I didn't have the courage to tell the truth about it. And I was secretly imagining that I was somehow inherently flawed and that I needed the universe to prove to me that I was not flawed. And that game is the game that I think most people are playing in one form or another. And so a couple months later, I'm driving in an Uber with one of my best friends to a different event. And I had been thinking about this really deeply. And I was like, what is it about this belief that I have, which is I can't be trusted. Like, my desire cannot be the thing that's right. Mm-hmm. What I want cannot be what's true. Like, it can't possibly be that following my desire is the path to live a fulfilling life. Mm-hmm. My entire paradigm was, I hope I'm wrong, which means I was never willing to bet on being right. Mm-hmm. And so every business I had built was built on the frame, I'm probably wrong. And so I need to do what I don't want to do and be who I don't want to be so that I can discover that that's true. And it became a self-fulfilling prophecy. And it felt like this very scary thing to just do what I wanted. Like how we talked about earlier in this interview, like, why does it feel so scary to just express a desire? Mm-hmm. Why do we go to such great lengths to cover up our true desires? Why do we feel so guilty? Why do we feel so shameful? And I started to see it everywhere. And I realized that there's this fundamental idea of choice. Like, in any given moment, I can choose to follow my desire or I can choose to do anything but. And it's a binary. Either I'm going to do what I perceive as most important, do what I desire most, be who I truly am, or I'm going to be literally anything or everything else. And then I started to see that pattern everywhere. Everyone is terrified to express their true desire. Everyone, for some reason, is afraid to ask for what they want. And everyone is pretty convinced that they're broken or somehow inherently flawed. And as long as we live in that paradigm, we're always going to live a life that proves to us that we're inherently flawed and that things are broken and that we can't have what we want. Mm-hmm. And what that rolled up into was this belief or this observation that as long as we put what we want on the other side of what we don't, which shows up a million different ways. Like, first, I'll do my to-do list in my business of everything I don't want to do. And then at some point in the future, I can be free. First, I'll subordinate to my partner and I'll do everything I don't want to do in my relationship. And then sometime in the future, I'll have the relationship of my dreams. First, I will do first I will suffer and then I will succeed.
Mm-hmm.
And we can see this epitomized by people like Alex Hormozy, right? Like his whole paradigm is suffer first, win later.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, we've all adopted this.
It's like paying for what we're gonna earn later. Paying first the right to be successful. Mm-hmm.
Right. And it's always in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So we live a life where here in the present moment, the paradigm is suffer now, happiness later.
Mm-hmm.
Suffer now, retirement later. Suffer now, success and freedom later. Suffer now, enjoy my business later. The problem is every moment it's suffer now, succeed or be happy later. Then later never comes. And so there's this paradigm of thought, which is, okay, well, if the only moment I'm going to have to work with is this moment, then when do I become the person who in this moment lives the life that I love? If I'm always putting the life that I love in the future, when do I live the life that I love in the present moment? And the answer is in that paradigm, never. And so I'm driving in this Uber to this 3-day event and I'm staring out the window and I can remember exactly where we are on the road. And I'm thinking, am I actually going to bet on in this moment doing what I truly desire to do? And it felt so strange and foreign to me.
Wow.
But I was like, you know what? Literally nothing could be possibly worse than this.
Yeah.
Like, how can I be so smart and so capable and so magnetic and people love me and all this stuff and yet somehow be such a fuck up? Like I cannot possibly have a worse life.
I loved it.
So I'm like, you know what? Fuck it, I'll do it. And so since that day,
Mm-hmm.
and this sort of leads into faith and God and, you know, am I going to be taken care of and whatever? Like, am I going to actually go back to my office and tell my team I don't want to do 90% of the stuff that I do in this business and just like drop it on the floor? That feels terribly irrational. It feels terribly irrational. Am I actually going to go back home to my spouse and be like, I'd never want to cook a meal again? Which isn't to say you have to cook the meals. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is like, let's start with the truth and see what transformation happens. I don't want to cook meals. I don't want to do the accounting. I don't want to do sales. I don't want to be responsible for this customer. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. In fact, I don't want to do just about any of the shit I've been doing my entire life. And then just see what happens. Because like the intellectual mind is like, but it has to be done.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the trick, is that I'm creating the narrative of what I perceive has to be done.
Mm-hmm.
And I could rationalize that anything has to be done. And I can literally create a narrative that makes everything necessary.
Okay.
But I don't want to. And so what happens if we take the risk of letting go of everything that has to be done
Mm-hmm.
and wake up in the morning and truly decide like, okay, I'm going to make the choice today of focusing on what I truly believe is most important and what I truly want to be doing. And let's see if God has a plan. And, you know, so far I've been pleasantly surprised that it seemingly God has a plan, you know, like by creating this space around that truth and saying no to everything I previously was terrified I had to do or else everything in my life would fall apart. What I've discovered is that there are actually people who genuinely want to do the things that I thought I had to do. There are genuinely people in my life who want to do the things I was refusing to allow them to do because of my paradigm of necessity, my paradigm of suffering, my paradigm of living a life under duress for some future that never comes. And so I don't really know how to like create an enrollment strategy for why people should take the risk of this, because it feels very scary and it requires a lot of courage. But so far, what we've observed is that my life is better. We make way more money. My team is way happier. My relationship is way better. And by creating the context that we get to do what we're responsible for, and we get to do the things that we genuinely want to do. And the story of necessity, the story of suffering doesn't need to exist. And it's been fine. Like, my business continues to go. We continue to produce revenue. The team continues to do their job. And I basically have proof that all of the very rational and reasonable stories that I was telling about why I have to suffer are just not real. They were invented by me. And we're over it.
You create your own narrative. You create your own story and your the lines, right? Who and what role every person is. And you're the only one who has control and power over changing that specific line, right? Like a movie, right? And what do you want? But what I perceive that what you said is, but it starts with being truthful and what you really want. What you don't, seeing what I don't like this is what I want. That's the first step, basically.
Yeah. And then also like dissatisfaction as an acceptable metric. Like, as long as as long as we make dissatisfaction wrong, dissatisfaction and suffering are very close together.
Mm-hmm.
So if I believe that my responsibility is to suffer, then dissatisfaction gets invalidated. Like, there's no room for dissatisfaction in the story that you should be suffering. And so it's not safe to express dissatisfaction because it undermines the identity of one who is supposed to suffer. Like, just suck it up, just do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so pretty quickly, I became present to how dissatisfied I was with, and I began to listen to my dissatisfaction as a signal for saying no, instead of a signal to push harder. So the calibration around dissatisfaction changed, because when I committed to the paradigm, one, I'm going to be honest at all costs. And Jordan Peterson talks about this. He frames it in the context of truth versus lies. It's logically impossible for a lie to lead you to a better life than the truth. But the truth often comes with destabilizing consequences because we've lied so much that we have a whole life built on those lies, and the truth undermines the foundation of our life.
And we can...
So you have to be willing to endure the consequence of telling the truth, which can often appear like a bunch of stuff being torn apart. Like, if you've been lying about something for 10 years, the trade for telling the truth means that whole 10-year period and everything built on those lies has to go.
It's interesting you said that, because a lot of my clients, that they have an issue with having a career for 20, 30 years and then trying to change into different career. And the issue they have is because I became this person with this statement, and this person and the new person don't really get along. The statements are not the same. How am I going to lose all of the history that I have to just become this? And I think that's like a process, right? And sometimes they don't see that they can integrate, that it just goes like, it's a continuation of who you are. And, it's interesting because in your name and your company name, the word, you have the word genius. And when I think of a genius, I don't think of someone who's figured everything out. I think of someone who is willing to accept that there's something new and different and it's still growing. That's the way I see it, right? So I love that name for you and what you're share. So what I have learned today, or what I'm trying, is that the entire life, if we want to have a fulfilled, successful, whatever the word that we used, we need to start by removing this mask of I'm okay, number one. Like, yeah, I'm not satisfied with something, because that will create action, movement. And the second one is I'm not just not satisfied, I'm not actually enjoying whatever it is that people tells me that I'm doing good. I'm doing it for them. It's a show. It's a play. And I am the main actor of my own, I'm the star of my own life to others, but I'm failing to myself for not being real to me.
Yeah. And like, we're conditioned to believe that suffering produces more benefit than drawback. Like, if you think about just how our society rewards people, society at large apparently rewards the victim. Society is optimized around survival. And in a society optimized for survival, the biggest victim has the most upside.
Yeah.
But thrival cannot occur in a victim story. They're completely different systems. So if you're playing a survival game, the way you win is by suffering. And if you're playing a thrival game, the way that you win is by fulfilling your desires. And desire fulfillment can go to infinity. A powerful creator has unlimited potential to become more powerful.
Wow.
But a victim can only be cured. So the survival game is finite. It's not an infinite game. And the thrival game is infinite. But for the people who have a life predicated on survival, surrounded by people who are also surviving, stepping out of the survival game represents a threat to everyone they're currently playing the survival game with. And so people are threatened, and you will experience potentially negative repercussions when you decide you want to change the game that you're playing. So it appears to be very scary. It appears to come with a bunch of loss. And so the capital cost fallacy of preserving a lie keeps you in the survival game. And to the person playing the survival game, they cannot comprehend, they don't have access to the potential upside of the thrival game. So it appears like very dangerous because it's going to destabilize everything I've built. It's going to challenge all of my relationships. Like, think about this. In like intimate relationships, in married couples, if somebody in a relationship loses 100 pounds, the probability of divorce in that relationship goes up to basically infinity. Nearly every relationship where someone loses a lot of weight ends up in divorce.
Yeah.
So that's why people who are overweight often won't lose weight, because the cost or the friction of losing weight in a relationship predicated on them being a certain way is perceived as too high. But if you do the equivalent of stepping out of survival into I'm done suffering, I'm done like trading my own desires to please other people and to fit in, I'm done diminishing myself, I'm done like acting like life is just something you put up with, and I'm going to go try to live a good life. There's a bunch of, downside that you have to have the courage and the capacity to endure. And so I was talking to one of my clients yesterday about the idea of burning the boats. And she was recognizing me. She's like, Alexander, like, you seem to just be willing to burn boats. I'm like, well, yeah, because I'm willing to endure the negative consequence because I have proof and evidence and a reinforcement loop that telling the truth is a better strategy than living a lie. I've created evidence for myself. I took the risk and I created results. And so now I'm willing to continue playing the game. But also, I think most people think like, in order to step into a new identity, I have to turn and I have to literally dismantle my old life. And I was like, that's not actually how I played this out. Like when I decided to end being the CEO of a marketing agency and step into the identity of coach, for example, it's not like I went to all of my clients and said, hey, I'm back. Like I'm done with you.
Mm-hmm.
I just shifted my attention and intention into the new identity, and I refused to act as if I was the old person.
Mm-hmm.
And the branches fell away over time.
Mm-hmm.
So like people imagine these cataclysmic things. They're like, I'm going to make a new decision. I'm going to make a new choice. I'm going to step into a new identity. And what that means is now I have to go and literally take, a torch and burn down my old life. You don't need to do that. Like just put your attention and intention into the new identity, and everything that is not that will take care of itself. And so it's not as scary as most people imagine it to be, but there will be consequences. The branches will fall off the tree. Like your old life will fade away, but you don't have to drive your car directly into a wall,
Mm-hmm.
So there's ways to navigate that are not so terrible.
Well, when you do something like that, thank you for sharing. That's beautiful. So when a woman does something like that, it has a partner, she's going to feel supported by the partner. The man is usually the protector, even though this is changing nowadays, the man is still the protector. What happens when a man decides to take that step, which, as you say, is highly risky? It's extremely rewarding, but it's highly risky, and because we don't know, we see the future with uncertainty. What are the steps, or what is that he, specifically a man, right, has to do in order to feel safe, or who to trust in that process? Because the clients will perceive him as there's something different, and I don't understand this, even though they will probably appreciate the honesty later. Sometimes it's a risk, right? So even family members. So in some, a man might or not have a partner, right? So what will be the step in order for them to feel? They have to feel safe. They cannot just say nobody can do this by themselves. What do you perceive, or what will be your opinion, and who can they trust, or how can they take the first step after they made a decision to feel that space of safety, or because it has to happen, right? What are the actions?
Yeah. Well, I would say that safety is not the prerequisite for the man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to die trying. So I actually think that there's a different calibration.
Okay, thank you.
Which is, if we apply the condition or the expectation that the attempt must be successful,
Mm-hmm.
then what we're saying is that we require the condition to exist in order to take the action.
Okay.
I do not require the condition to exist.
Okay.
I'm willing to die trying. I'm willing to endure the consequence of my choice leading to any potential outcome.
Okay.
And I have faith that any outcome that occurs is going to be better than if I lied, or I lived an identity that isn't truly me, or whatever. And so we don't get to decide in advance what success looks like.
Oh, I
We
love.
don't get to decide in advance what our better life looks like.
Mhm.
And if we're to skew towards the religious, they would say that we almost never know what God's plan is, right? Like we don't have the right to demand the life that we think we want from God. We have the opportunity to discover who we are and what our life gets to be to the degree we become ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And so I am willing to die trying to become myself.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not willing to die trying, you are not ever going to have the courage to take the perceived risk. So the encouragement that I have for men
Mm-hmm.
And what I believe is an ingredient to being a powerful leader
Mm-hmm.
is that we're going to war and we're likely not coming back. So the imagination that like I should have the guaranteed outcome that I get to go to war and come back alive means you're probably not going to.
Mm-hmm.
But if we are courageous and we are willing to play this out and have faith that like who we truly are is the result that we're looking for, then it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if measurable genius wins or loses. It doesn't matter if this business succeeds, the next business succeeds. It doesn't matter. My job is to show up in this moment and to be as fully and completely myself as I can or am willing to be. And the outcomes are just going to be what they are. I don't have control. So I think I don't require safety. I require courage.
I love that.
And given enough courage, then everything is safe.
I love what you said, and thank you for clarifying that, because this is the reason why I created this space. At times, it's difficult for us women figuring out what is really that is in the men's not just best interest, but actually mine. In order to, and you're right, safety is more a thing about a woman. So be courageous, has no expectations about the result, just be courageous, and no matter what, it'll be better than the way it was, because by being courageous, the thing that is changing is you're being authentic, and by being authentic, you're already winning.
Yeah, and like for the woman. Like, I'm thinking of Jen. Is it safe? Like, so option one, I need life to be a certain way for us to be safe.
Uh-huh.
Means I'm putting our safety into the responsibility of our life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's life's job to keep us safe.
Okay.
And the way I'm creating that dynamic is by saying this result has to exist or else I'm not willing to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But in the spirit of me being willing to die trying, and not requiring something from life in order to try, then the way I create safety is by being able to handle anything that comes my way.
Mm.
So by relieving myself of expectation on the universe to be a certain way, I am actually now equipped to handle and to face, like with courage, anything that may happen. That's more safe than requiring life to take a certain form in order for me to be capable.
An expectation, yeah.
Yeah.
That way, you're not going to fail if you don't have an expectation, no matter what, right? If you have an expectation of how things are going to have to be, the probability of failing is pretty high, because we don't have control over everything.
Yeah. Oh, babe, I'm sorry. I didn't prevent the house from being burned down because I was expecting for there to be no fire. I was expecting only rain. And so, sorry, I was unprepared.
Yeah.
My bad. You know, But if I'm like, look, like I'm going to show up, I'm going to face anything that comes our way. It's like, oh shit, the house is on fire. I should probably put it out. Mm-hmm. I'm capable of putting out a fire, you know? Mm-hmm. So.
That works. Mm-hmm. Alexander, where can individuals find you?
They can find me on social media. I am at Alexander W. Ford on all of the platforms. And if you want to look at my website, it is measurablegenius.com.
Measurable. I love the name. Okay. So 3 things. And I have so many questions that I didn't finish. I think we just got to the mapping what you want to say, but I do have many. I didn't go into my questions. I would love to have the opportunity to have you back and ask you more questions, but I know time is of, we didn't have an expectation of what the results will be. So I think I love what you said. I love that, for men over there listening is know that, and for women if they're listening, and men probably are going to need to be courageous and not having expectations. But most importantly is that in order to be truly successful in life, it's not what the numbers are showing, it's not what the others are revealing about ourselves, but how we feel about ourselves. And that's the most important part. So sometimes we're going to see the example you use about the individual losing weight, it was powerful. Sometimes you're going to see transformation in our partners, or we're going to transform if you're a man there, and just know that it is important to, to join the girl sometimes. Otherwise, we're not going to be a pair anymore, whoever is in that situation, right? Alexander, I would love to invite you back. Number one. Number two, who do you perceive will be the right person for being introduced in this podcast? Someone you know personally or not?
I think it would be interesting for you to interview my friend Jay. I mentioned him earlier. He's also gone through a transformation of identity over the last few years. Him and his wife, Corey, are running a business focused on helping people to improve the quality of their relationships.
Oh, I love that.
Using psychedelic medicine as an approach.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's interesting to you, I will make that introduction.
Yes, it is very interesting. I think that kind of medicine or that kind of way, it's very popular right now. I have a lot of people asking me about that. So yes, I would love that. Thank you. It's not my choice what the listeners choose to be the right way. I just bring in solutions. Whoever can take whatever they want, right? Well, first, I would like to go over some rapid fire questions. I say one or two words per me, and you answer as quick as you can, whatever comes to your, and you're quick. So we're going to go this fast. And then once we finish, I'm going to ask you to give us some wisdom so we can close this interview. Are you ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
Transformation.
Fruit.
Education.
Shiny object.
Men.
Wanting to grow
Time.
is of the essence.
Fear.
Natural.
Knowledge.
Useful.
Fulfillment.
Something to be curious about.
Pornography.
Entertaining, I guess.
Society.
Incoherent.
Connection.
Necessary.
Spirituality.
Misunderstood.
God.
Leader.
Service.
If you want.
Food.
Useful.
Parents.
Largely unprepared.
Intimacy.
Fun.
Stress.
The choice.
Fatherhood.
Takes many forms.
AI.
Super cool.
Profession.
Profession. A label.
Mind.
Mind. One ingredient.
Evolution.
It's happening.
Values.
Weaponized. Mostly misunderstood.
Music.
Just something that happens.
Love language.
Too simple.
Legacy.
Who knows?
Emotions.
Feedback.
Exercise.
Necessary.
Authenticity.
Authenticity. Requires courage.
Leadership.
Most people think they want to be, very few discover they are.
Authority.
Application of influence.
Gratitude.
Something to practice.
Courage.
Rare.
Soul.
Cool idea.
Happiness.
Something people are entitled to.
Suffering.
Also something they're entitled to.
Social media.
Mostly a waste of time.
Women.
Beautiful.
Health.
Feedback.
Life.
A blessing.
Death.
A blessing.
Monogamy.
My choice.
Polygamy.
Not my choice.
Wealth.
Takes many forms.
Birthright.
Birthright. Life.
Manhood.
Manhood. That's an identity.
Conversation.
Conversation. Could be useful.
The physical body.
Physical body. Something to take care of.
Family.
Value it if you have it.
Money.
Money. A tool.
Sex.
Fun.
Pain.
Useful.
Pleasure.
Useful.
Empowerment.
Fantasy for most people.
Wife.
Wife. Jen.
Husband.
Alexander.
Identity.
Something we choose.
And last but not least, love.
Love. Love. Something we get to discover.
Something we get to discover. I love that. Alexander, I would love for you to give us some wisdom to close this interview. Whatever comes from your heart, your mind, and your being.
We don't have control over anything in this universe. There's a finite amount of this universe that we get to observe, and it's only inside that very small circle that we can even imagine for a minute that we have control. Surrender is not a subordinate position. It's a form of curiosity. And what we choose to say yes to requires that we say no to everything else. And if we recognize that this life is finite, we do not have infinite time, and we are going to die, attempting to control the uncontrollable is a waste of time. And the only way that we will discover if our faith is true is by first choosing to be faithful so that we can discover that there's a plan. We do not need to make the right choice in order to survive. But we can choose to thrive. So the invitation that I have for your listeners is to acknowledge that there is something you truly want to give your attention to. There is something you truly love. There's something you truly believe in. There's something you truly want to do. And there are many reasons why you shouldn't or can't be doing it because of all of these things in your life that appear to be necessary. And they're not. They're not necessary. And if you take the perceived risk of filling your day with what is truly most important to you, and you allow your dissatisfaction and your desire to guide your choices, your life will get better and in ways you cannot possibly predict. But you must take the risk. So have courage and let God or spirit or the universe or whatever it is that you believe in show you that it's fine. It's going to be fine.
It's going to be fine. I love
It's
it.
going to be fine.
So I love this. Basically, be courageous and have faith that it's going to be okay. Thank you so much for today. It was wonderful having a conversation with a genius of your caliber. And I look forward to another conversation and observe what you're doing and what's happening. What's happening, Alexander?
Thank you for having me.
You already have an amazing name, a name of a great individual. So why not? Thank you for all of you who are listening, watching, and let's connect soon again. Thank you.